Summary of Empowerment, translated by the Vienna Buddhist Translation Group under the patronage and supervision of 84,000, translating the words of the Buddha, and read by Angus Cargill. Homage to glorious Kālacakra. Sucandra requested the sevenfold and threefold empowerment, and also the unsurpassable one, O teacher, explain them to me in short, for the sake of mundane and supramundane accomplishments. The illustrious one replied, Listen, O Sucandra, I will explain to you in summary the empowerment and its purpose. These sevenfold, threefold, and unsurpassable empowerments, and the movement in the channels and its control. In the Tantras, there are three types of summaries and three types of explanations pertaining to the Sekoddeśa, including the precise summary, the extensive summary, the precise explanation, and the other, i.e., the extensive explanation. The summary and explanation are referred to as the recitation of the Tantra. The precise summary and the precise explanation are word-by-word commentaries. The extensive summary and the extensive explanation are commentaries that indicate the entirety of the meaning. They must be composed by those who have obtained supramundane knowledge, not by mere scholars. Through these 6 summaries and explanations, the Tantra of the Adi-Buddha called Kālacakra is perfect. Perfect through fourfold Vajra Yoga, perfect through the 4 types of awakening, perfect through the psychophysical aggregates, elements, sense bases, and 6 families, perfect through the 5 chapters, on the world realm and so forth, and perfect through adherence to the principle of 2 truths. First, there is the sevenfold empowerment, to introduce the childish. Then the threefold one, in terms of the relative truth of the world. And the 4th, in terms of the ultimate truth. The teaching of myself, the Vajra holder, concerning phenomena, is in terms of the twofold truth, the relative truth of the world, and the ultimate truth. The sevenfold empowerment, O King, consists of those of water, crown, ribbon, Vajra, and bell. Great vow, name, and permission. The purification of body, speech, and mind, with 2 each, comprise the first 6 empowerments, the purification of wisdom, the permission empowerment. The other purifications are the purification of the elements and so forth. The water empowerment is the purification of the elements. That of the crown is the purification of the psychophysical aggregates. That of the ribbon is the purification of the perfections. Those of the Vajra and the bell are for the great immovable bliss, and one's uninterrupted Buddha speech, respectively. They are the purification of the sun and moon, so that they are united into one. The purification of the objects and sense faculties is the Vajra vow that remains intact. The name empowerment is the purification of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. That of permission is the purification for achieving Buddhahood. These 7 empowerments must only be given after having created the mandala. Next follows the vase empowerment, the secret empowerment, that called wisdom from a prajna, then again that of great prajna, which is known as wisdom gained from her. The first 3 are, respectively, moving, moving, and vibrating, and the supreme one is beyond vibration. The first 3 empowerments are taken, respectively, as the purification of body, speech, and mind, and the 4th is the purification of wisdom. The purification of body, speech, and mind, the 3 correspond to the level of a child adult and elder, and the fourth to the level of the universal ancestor. From touching the breast of the prajna, there is the bliss of descending bodhicitta. The adept, empowered by the breast, is the child, because such bliss is attained from touching the breast. From moving the vajra in the secret part for a long time, the bliss of the further descending bodhicitta has arisen. The adept, empowered by the secret part, is the adult, because such bliss is attained from the secret part. From moving the vajra in the secret part for a long time, the bliss of vibration has arisen at the tip of the vajra. The adept, empowered by the wisdom from a prajna, is the elder, because of having realized the bliss from vibration. That which has arisen from passion for the Mahamudra is bliss without vibration. The adept, empowered by the great prajna, is the universal ancestor, because he realizes the blissful state without vibration. The universal ancestor should be known as the creator of all protectors. Being in a state without duality or movement, he is called Vajrasattva, the great being, and Bodhisattva, the commitment being. Fourfold Vajra Yoga, and finally here Kālacakra, the one bestowing liberation on yogins. This practice must be accomplished through manifestations that are not mentally produced, namely the 10 signs beginning with smoke, which are reflections of insight similar to the sky. They are beyond existence and non-existence. Their status is certain from one's own experience. They are entirely devoid of accumulations of atoms and particles. They are smoke, a mirage, a firefly, a lamp, a flame, the moon, the sun, darkness, digit of the moon, and the great drop. This clear reflection of everything, with eyes neither closed nor open, this reflection is seen in emptiness, like in a dream. Without conceptualizing it, one must constantly meditate on this reflection. Once the reflection is seen in the non-existent, i.e. cloudless sky, the meditation is not the conceptual meditation of yogins. To the mind appears neither existence nor non-existence, because of seeing the reflection of emptiness without having imagined them. Just as a virgin sees in the divinatory mirror the magical image of something unreal, so too the yogin of true reality sees in space past and future phenomena. The object in the reflection is not something real, because she sees what is empty of real entities. Something consisting of non-existent entities is like an illusion, a dream, or magic. Yet, even though it does not exist, the manifestation of a phenomenon is observed. It is like a wish-fulfilling jewel that fulfills the hopes of limitless beings. In the magical image, the Virgin sees a thief and so forth, not yet seen by the officiants. Having gone there, the officiants of the divination see him with their ordinary eyes. If she sees a real form, why does she not see her own face? But if she sees an unreal form, why does she not see a hare's horn? She sees neither with other superior eyes, nor with her own eyes. What is being seen has not arisen. It is like the child of a virgin. Once the reflection is seen, one must immediately perform breath control, because body, speech, and mind should be arrested in the 3 upper and 3 lower channels. With regard to the channels, which are the path for the moon, the sun, Rahu, excrement, urine, and semen, and which correspond to the families of the elements of water, fire, space, earth, wind, and wisdom, the channels of body, speech, and mind are taught to be. With regard to the vital wind and down-moving wind, respectively, the channels of the moon, the sun, and Rahu, as well as those of excrement, urine, and semen. The moon is the body of means. The sun is the speech of insight. The channel of excrement is the body of insight. The channel of urine is the speech of the omnipresent. One upward and one downward, the two channels of mind carry Rahu and the semen respectively. The mind of means is the channel of Rahu, and the mind of insight is the channel of semen. Upward and downward and combined with body, speech, and mind, these channels are the 6 families. They reside in embodied beings, as the aspect of means and the aspects of insight. Due to strong winds above and below, signs of death emerge in the channels of body and speech. Birth, death, and duration are related to the channels of Rahu and of semen. At the time of birth, death, and during intercourse, the channel of semen swells. Rahu flows upward during equinox, when the sun passes from one sign to the other. At the moment of transit, each time the ascendant rises, the middle channel carries the breath of equinox. It lasts 56 1/4 breaths, O protector of men, counting inhalation and exhalation as one. In one day and night there are 675 breaths in the middle channel. The winds 21,600 times, minus those 675 breaths, flow in the left and right channels. They flow in the middle channel for 3 years and 3 fortnights during 100 years. In the upper part, the left and right channels are the moon, Lalana, and Ida, and the sun, Pingala, and the other, i.e. Rasana. These two have the nature of water and fire, and are taken to hold the lotus, i.e. Amitabha, and the jewel, i.e. Ratnasambhava. In the lower part, there are the 2 channels of excrement and urine, having the nature of earth and wind. They are the middle and left channels, and are known to hold the disc, i.e. Vairocana, and the sword, i.e. Amoghasiddhi. In the upper and lower part, the middle and right channel, are those of Rahu and semen. They have the nature of emptiness and wisdom, and both are known to hold Vajras, i.e. Akshobhya and Vajrasattva. The channel of excrement connects with the path of the moon, the channel of urine with the path of the sun, and the channel of semen with the path of Rahu. The latter is responsible for birth, death, the breath of equinox, and intercourse. The avaduti above the navel is called Sushumna, the channel of darkness. The channel of the semen below is called sky-goer face, Khagamukha, and conch shell channel, Shankini. Passing through the lotuses of the navel, heart, throat, forehead, and crown of the head, the vital wind in the avaduti transports earth into water, water into fire, fire into wind, and wind into emptiness, in the mode of dissolution. Exhaling and inhaling again, it re-enters the earth element by way of production. The avaduti runs from center to center and carries body, speech, and mind, at the navel and the secret lotus of the jewel. Exhaling and inhaling, it has the nature of dissolution and production, respectively. The Shankini carries the downward moving wind of all living beings. Due to the bliss of enjoying women, it carries semen, and at the time of menstruation, it carries blood. The left and right channels above and those carrying excrement and urine below refer to the factors of insight and means, respectively, as do the channels of menstrual blood and semen. Carrying menstrual blood, the Shankini is called Kandali. Carrying semen, it is called Kagamukha. Above, the Avaduti is called Dombi in women, referring to menstruation. In men, it is called Avaduti. The 5 mandalas, starting with consciousness, always flow in the left channel. The ones starting with earth, in the right channel. The 6th, i.e. that of wisdom, in the middle channel. On the lotus petals at the level of the navel are, in successive order, 60 mandalas. At the time of the left and right ascendants, constituted by the 6 starting with Aries and the 6 starting with Taurus, the vital breath flows in the 2 nostrils in due order to the base, the left, the right, above and to the middle, passing through one mandala after the other, starting with earth during each danda. One nadika successively carries 360 breaths. 5 of them carry 1,800. One day and night have 60 nadikas. They are the mandalas of the body, starting with earth. The vital breath flows to the center of the petals, space, and then, in due order, above, wind, to the right, fire, left, water, and below, earth. In the left nostril, the elements always start with space, and in the right, with earth in reverse order. In the left occurs formation, starting with consciousness, and in the right occurs dissolution, starting with earth. The earth is below and the wind above. They are insight and means, respectively. Therefore, the secret empowerment happens through the thumb and the ring finger in the mouth of the disciple. Fire is on the right and water on the left. They are insight and means, respectively. Therefore, the mudra of the sword is formed with the middle and index fingers. The void is above and the immovable below. They are insight and means, respectively. Therefore, the mudra of the fangs, which has the shape of a half-moon, is formed with the little fingers looking like a hooked knife. The union of the 10 mandalas is that of the 10 fingers, one hand with the other, palms joined above the head. This is the mudra of the one-pointed vajra and knife. The equinox in the middle channel causes creation and dissolution. Having entered the middle channel, the psychophysical aggregates, elements, and the 3 vajras of body, speech, and mind become one. When the channels of the moon and the sun are blocked, the channels of excrement and urine become blocked. When the channel of Rahu is blocked, the channel of semen below becomes blocked. When the upper ones are released, the respective lower ones are then released, causing creation and dissolution. This is the movement in the channels along the threefold paths of both the vital wind and the downward moving wind. If excessive vital wind flows in the left or right channels for 1 or 5 nights and days, then one will die within 3 years. If the vital wind flows with the death sign of the sun in the right channel for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, and 27 nights and days, then for 33, i.e. 15, 10, 5, and 3 nights and days, the life of embodied beings will be gone. Within a period of 3, 2, or 1 year, 6, 3, 2, or 1 month, 15, 10, 5, or 3 days, respectively. Then only 2, and finally only 1 day are left. With the ascent of the moon from the base in the left channel, one by one, For days and months, in steps of 3 days and 3 months, the days of death signs increase, and the months of virtue decrease. Further, death ascends in the middle channel at the completion of 100 years. Its ascent occurs in relation to even and odd days, and in relation to the mandalas arisen at the time of birth. Once the 2 parts of the lotus on the right and left side, consisting of 6 petals each, have been destroyed, otherwise there will be no death when the 2 parts of the lotus remain due to the movement of vital wind in those left and right parts, and because the 5 mandalas of earth and the rest remain active. Knowing the defining characteristics of the death signs, the adept must bring the vital wind into the drop. Based on the bottom of the Amarāvatī, great immovable bliss must be cultivated. One needs to keep the Vajra continuously erect, because the paths of the moon and the sun are suppressed. Otherwise, the vital wind will not enter the body of the Amarāvatī, nor will the downward moving wind enter the Sankini, and as a consequence, there will be death. This circumvention of the death signs will occur through the 4 joys of the yogin. The initial joy is the descent of the semen from the lotus at the crown of the head to the one between the eyebrows. Between the throat and the heart there is the supreme joy. From there, descending further, the intense joy. This variegated joy, i.e. intense joy, occurs until the semen is at the navel. At this point, having entered the secret lotus, the semen descends into the Vajra jewel, causing co-emergent joy, so long as it is not emitted. Therefore, he is called the all-pervading Lord of immovable great passion. Being in non-abiding nirvana, he avoids these 2 situations. The semen abiding at the crown of the head, due to the lack of passion, and blissful emission, which is abiding nirvana. The manifestation of the moon drop of semen is located at the crown of the head, and the phase of the full moon in the lotus of the secret part. The 16th phase is located in the lotus of the jewel, at the tip of the Vajra. After that, at the beginning of the dark period, there is the phase of emission. The sun, because of the absence of passion, arrives at the place of the tuft between the eyebrows at the time of the new moon. The 16th solar phase is located in the lotus at the crown of the head. Because of non-attachment to passionate bliss in this state, it is called moonless. In all corporeal beings at the time of death, the lunar nectar moves downward, the solar blood upward, and the consciousness, which is Rahu, to what is characterized by becoming, i.e. rebirth. For this reason, O king, you must make the lunar nectar move upward, the solar blood downward, and the consciousness, which is Rahu, to immovable bliss. The full moon of the lunar nectar occurs for all Buddhas in the lotus of the tuft between the eyebrows, and the new moon of solar blood in the secret part. The 16th phase of these 2 occurs in the crown of the head and the jewel. This Vajra verse of the teacher is in opposition to the situation of corporeal beings. His nirvana is non-abiding, in opposition to the elements. The mind in the jewel, the speech in the secret part, and the body in the navel emerge from great bliss. The Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya radiate from this pure body. What emerges from below, O king, belongs to means, and what emerges from above belongs to insight, prajna. The body Vajra of the prajna is at the forehead. The Vajras of speech, mind, and wisdom are at the lotuses of the throat, heart, and navel. They, i.e. the Vajras of body, speech, mind, and wisdom, radiate from the Nirmānakaya and the other bodies. The psychophysical aggregates and elements radiate from unobstructed bliss, i.e. the body of Vajrasattva. Due to the union with a Kama mudra, the visualized support of a jñāna mudra, and the unique union with a Maha mudra, immovable bliss increases. Of that which has increased, there is no increasing. Of that which has diminished, there is no diminishing. Of that which has set, there is no setting. Likewise, of that which has risen, there is no rising. Of that which is illuminated, there is no illumination. Of that which is obscured, there is also no obscuring. Of that which is born, there is no taking birth. Of that which is dead, there is no dying. Of that which is liberated, there is also no liberation. Of that which does not abide, there is no non-abiding. Of that which does not exist, there is no non-existence. Of that which exists, there is no existence. Of that which moves, there is no movement. And of that which does not move, there is no non-movement. The rise and fall of all phenomena, which lack their own nature, are thus an illusion. Elements neither come into nor pass out of existence by means of their own nature. This manifold world lacks its own nature and has the unique characteristics of apparent existence and ultimate non-existence. When embracing one's prajna, i.e. Kama mudra, the bodhicitta enters the Vajra jewel, which by then is inside the lotus. When the moon, i.e. bodhicitta, has entered into the jewel, it is in vibration. The meditation on the unchangeable Mahamudra is free from vibration. The meditation on body, speech, and mind is based on the channels of body, speech, and mind. The fusion of the three Vajras of body, speech, and mind in the Sankhini is the meditation on jñāna. Because of attachment to the prajna, the drops trickle from the head via the aforementioned stages and enter the stages of the full moon. They are fixed through meditation on the ultimate. Just as the waxing moon becomes gradually full along its phases, its fullness due to the receding of its shadow, and not because of being annihilated and made full again, so the waxing wisdom becomes gradually full along the bodhisattva levels, its fullness due to the receding of defilements and so forth, and not because of being annihilated and made full again. Just as the moon with the mark of the rabbit in its middle does not remain in the phase of the full moon, so too the mind does not remain in unchangeable bliss because of its mark of samsaric imprints. The waxing and waning fortnights are established as the bright and the dark. The full moon in between these two does not remain at its fullest. Fully complete enlightenment in one instant is immovable in its fullness. When the bodhicitta is in the Vajra jewel, it fills all moments with this experience. The mind Vajra is neither based on the bright fortnight, nor does it go to the dark one. It is located in the middle of the two sides, based on the full moon, without duality. Its waxing starts from the crown of the head and becomes full in the Vajra jewel. Due to lack of passion, these lunar phases are lost. Because of this loss, the solar blood starts from the Vajra, becoming full at the crown of the head. For corporeal beings, waxing happens again at the crown of the head, and fullness in the Vajra jewel. Due to lack of passion, these lunar phases are lost, but there is no loss of wisdom, i.e. the 16th lunar phase. Its, i.e. bodhicitta's nature, is great bliss, and is praised using the metaphor of the full moon. All other things are the cause of creation and dissolution of sentient beings' great bliss. Just as the moon proceeds through its 2 fortnights, and the sun through its 2 roots, so nirvana proceeds from existence, and existence from nirvana. Immovable great bliss is completed through the bodhisattva levels during the full moon, with the help of 21,600 breaths, which are devoured by moments of immovable bliss. It, i.e. immovable bliss, is without the 2 fortnights, and is completed through the bodhisattva levels. Its true meaning has 12 aspects, and its immovable character has 16 aspects. Through the bodhisattva levels, it is full in 12 aspects, being supreme non-duality. The bodhicitta, which is full through the lunar phases, has 16 aspects. It is of one meaning, a phenomenon beyond duality, the ultimate, indestructible. It is bodhicitta in the state of fullness, completely full in every way. It is the great passion, which starts with freedom from passion, Vajra body, great immovable bliss, completely full and unpolluted by the imprints of both sides, i.e. passion and freedom from passion. Just as the waters of rivers become the same as the ocean upon entering it, so too the entirety of existence becomes the same as the immovable upon entering it. Just as a set of metals becomes an elixir when it is devoured by mercury, and just as the nature of seeds is acquired through the seeds, and beyond measure at the time of fruition, so too the entirety of existence, when devoured by supreme immovable bliss, becomes supreme immovable bliss, which embraces all aspects. He who is bitten does not notice the pain in the wound or elsewhere, nor does he notice objects through his sense faculties when the poison develops its full effect. Likewise, the yogin does not experience true bliss in the Vajra jewel or elsewhere, nor does he notice objects through his sense faculties when the bodhicitta has reached the phase of the full moon. Just as the great elixir is first present in only one part of the metal, and then penetrates to every part of the metal when red hot from violent fire, so too the immovable bliss is first present in only one part, i.e. the Vajra jewel, and then penetrates every part of the mind when the latter is red hot from the fire of desire. Just as metals that are penetrated by the elixir have no stains anywhere, so too the penetrated mind streams have no imprints anywhere. Just as metal transformed into gold becomes stainless through fire, so too the mind, repeatedly red hot from the fire of passion, becomes stainless. Just as a stone clearly shines when touched by a great jewel, so too the mind becomes blissful through contact with immovable bliss. But why all these words here? On the level of the relative truth of the world, the power of the elixir is incomprehensible in terms of penetrating metal. How much more on the level of ultimate truth is the power of wisdom incomprehensible in terms of penetrating the mind defiled by adventitious stains. The stains are neither externally added to the mind, nor are they older than the mind. They are neither born elsewhere than the mind, nor do they remain inexhaustibly in the mind. If the stains were externally added, then the mind would have been stainless beforehand. If they had existed before the mind, then what could they have arisen from? If they had arisen without the mind, then they would be like a sky flower. If they had always resided in the mind, then they could never be eliminated. just as the stains of copper are eliminated through union with an elixir, and its existence, which remains stainless, is not eliminated. So too, the stains of mind are eliminated through its union with emptiness, and its wisdom, which remains stainless, is not eliminated. Just as iron that has been penetrated by the elixir does not revert to the nature of iron, so too the mind that has been penetrated by bliss does not revert to a state of suffering. There is no greater transgression than the lack of passion, no greater merit than supreme bliss. Therefore, the mind should constantly embrace immovable bliss, O king. Without having made love, a young maiden cannot describe sexual bliss. Having made love in her youth, she will know great bliss for herself. Likewise, bliss cannot be described by those without meditative concentration. When immovable bliss is attained in meditative concentration, the yogins will know it for themselves. Even the omniscient ones are uncertain about recognizing the bliss which arises from the immovable. Thus, a state without passion must be avoided by all means, because without it, the mind will lack bliss. It is recorded that from emission the lack of passion is born, and from the lack of passion, suffering. From suffering, the elements of men are ruined, and from ruining the elements, death will come. From death, a new existence will follow, and from that again, death and transmigration. Accordingly, the existence of sentient beings comes from the lack of passion and nothing else. Therefore, one must avoid with all effort the passion of emission. By doing so, the yogin proceeds from the fetters of samsara to immovable bliss. Without passion, one would not even be a good lover and not seek out the Kama Shastra. Why then would a yogin likewise wish for suffering with regard to this Tantra proclaimed by me? Through a state in which the semen remains immovable, the yogin must attain supreme immovable bliss. Once the support has reached the state of emission, the supported will be passionless. The relation of support and supported remains as long as the mind does not proceed to the immovable. Once the mind has attained the immovable, it is without the characteristics of support and supported. For the adept whose body has been born from the immovable and whose bodhicitta has reached the chakra at the forehead, neither the union of the two series of vowels and consonants nor the syllable hom is needed any more, O king. The reflection arisen from emptiness is the cause, and bliss, born from the immovable, is the result. The cause is sealed by the result, and the result is sealed by the cause. Holding the reflection of emptiness is the cause. Holding immovable compassion is the result. Bodhicitta, which is as inseparable from emptiness and compassion, is not emitted. The reflection is free from nirvana, and the immovable transcends samsara. Their union is supreme non-duality, free from eternalism and nihilism. Because the reflection has the character of having arisen from non-existence, it is not non-existent. Because the immovable, in turn, has the character of having arisen from existence, existence does not apply to it. The perfect union of being and non-being is the non-dual supreme Vajra Yoga. It is beyond form and non-form, like a magical image in a mirror. The reflection is not immersed in cyclic existence, nor is the immovable immersed in nirvana. Their mutual connection is peace, the supreme neutral state, because insight has not arisen from a cause. The result has arisen from insight as its only possible cause. that which has arisen from insight, has not arisen from a cause, because insight has not arisen from a cause. Therefore, the wisdom is the unsurpassable prajna cum wisdom, which has not arisen from a cause. There is no mutual sealing, one by the other, through result and cause. Cause and result, everything has arisen through dependence. The reflection in which the two are mutually sealed is neither born nor extinguished. Its prajna aspect is constant extinction, and its upaya aspect, the supreme immovable, is always present, arisen, free from cause and effect. There is no mutual sealing. The vision of knowable objects in this world, which are neither born nor extinguished, are one's own mind and nothing else. This is because external objects of knowledge are only mentally separated from oneself. Therefore, nothing can seal itself with itself anywhere. Can a great sword cut itself with its own blade? Just as one experiences bliss through union in a dream with the daughter of a barren woman, so too one experiences bliss for oneself. By serving the reflection emerging from space, Vishvamata, i.e. Mahamudra, neither insight nor means are independent. The co-emergent one, i.e. Kalachakra, in union with his prajna, is full of bliss indeed, and without any hindrances. It is unstained like the sky, without object or sense faculty, present in everything, indivisible, without distinctions. Self-arisen of Vajrasattva at the secret part, the supremely immovable one with the great intent, and Mahasattva at the navel, whose passion is great, giving joy to sentient beings. Self-arisen are Bodhisattva at the heart, whose hatred is great, the great enemy destroying defilements, and Samaya-sattva at the throat, whose delusion is great, clearing the delusion of deluded intellect. Self-arisen are Vajra-yoga at the forehead, whose anger is great, the great enemy of wrathful demons, and Kālacakra at the crown of the head, whose attachment is great, removing the passion for fleeting bliss. The Vajra is indivisible. With that, the illustrious one taught Vajrasattva's great intent. Being, sattva, refers to the unity of the threefold existence. It is said to be the supreme immovable bliss. The one whose supreme immovable bliss is complete, who has become perfect through the bodhisattva levels, is Mahasattva, whose passion is great, giving joy to all sentient beings. Being a hero, persevering in enlightenment, without wavering, he is Bodhisattva, whose hatred is great, the great enemy of all hatred, defilements, and so forth. For he whose lunar nectar or semen has not been emitted, the commitment, samaya, is the devouring of bliss. Due to these circumstances, he is called Samaya Sattva, clearer of the delusion of deluded intellect. Vajra Yoga is the unity of all Vajras. Endowed with insight, bodies, and the immovable, his anger is great, being the great enemy of wrathful demons. Given his means of great immovable bliss, Kalachakra never abandons the welfare of sentient beings. Having great attachment, he liberates sentient beings and removes the passion for fleeting bliss. These 6 forms of deities are also said to be the families of the 6 aggregates: wisdom, sensation, consciousness, matter, karmic formations, and discrimination, all of them in an immovable state. Likewise, they are also, in order, the elements of wisdom, fire, space, earth, wind, and water, the sense faculties of the mind, the eyes, ears, the body, nose, and tongue, and the cognitive objects of mental objects, dharmadhatu. Visible objects, sound, touch, odor, and taste, the terrifying king of wrath with 6 faces is purified with regard to these 6 families. The body, the secret organ, and the mind have always been the threefold mandala of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. These 3 vajras, each consisting of insight and means, are in the state of vajrasattva. These means of accomplishing empowerment, the means of accomplishing the supreme immovable, together with the channels and families, have been explained in summary, O Sucandra. This concludes the summary of the means of the supreme immovable empowerment, i.e. the Sekoddeśa, from the 5th chapter of the Paramādibuddha that begins with the chapter on the world realm.